God imprinted his moral law on our conscience. There's a tendency to treat all ideas and opinions today as equally true or equally valid. That's the you do you type of concept. Well, you do you, that's relativism. And that it comes out of atheism, or I'll call it naturalism. So the idea that there is no other, there's nothing else other than the physical world, for example. And if that's the case, then there is no objective truth or morality. There are no objective standards of morality. You can create your own belief system based on your opinion and based on your feelings rather than the facts. This is the cultural tendency of what's going on today. And this is a dangerous trap. It has philosophical and theological pitfalls, self-contradictions, and it's just plain not true. My challenge to you: don't follow your feelings, those beliefs. Follow the evidence. Find the facts and follow the evidence. That is how we are to succeed in discovering the truths of the world around us. And that will include theological truths with profound consequences to each of us spiritually. Let's rise to that challenge. That's my call. My siren call to you today is to take that quest seriously, if you will. Now, God imprinted his moral law on our conscience. This is coming from the Christian worldview. I believe it to be true, and I want to try to illustrate why. Now, like I said before, many world religions will say, yeah, you should be a good person. Murder is wrong. Be a good citizen, be kind to others, share, don't steal. The list goes on. So the danger, the trap, is to draw too much of a conclusion from that. It doesn't follow that just because there's shared morality across world religions, that doesn't mean that all the world religions are true at the same time. That can't be the case because of non-contradiction. So just try to keep that in mind. You have to get into the detail of what the different world religions are teaching you about larger issues, like what happens? Do we die? Is God real? Is there a judgment to come? What is sin? Do we have a sin nature? Does it matter? Etc. I think you understand what I'm trying to get at, but realize that there is a conscience that we all have. And this is universal, applies to all people. And this cartoon kind of gives that illustration. You got the devil on one shoulder, the angel on the other. You're trying to think of what to do. You're conflicted. Excuse me. And that's just how we make decisions sometime. But at the core, if you're honest with yourself, at the core of your being, I think we have to acknowledge that we all have a moral compass and understanding of right from wrong that is inherent within us. Now, the Bible gives us some information to help us think through that and understand that a little bit more. Here's Romans chapter 2, verse 14. This is Paul speaking. And it says here, for when the Gentiles, that's talking about non-believers essentially, for when the Gentiles, which have not the law, do, here's the key, by nature, the things contained in the law, these having not the law are a law unto themselves. Now that might sound a little confusing, but basically there is the written law that the Jews were following at the time of Christ, and historically long prior to that. But in the early church, there was this conflict between new converts to Christianity and those who are sticking to the traditions and the law of the Jews. And Paul is illustrating that actually we all have the law written in our hearts. And when we do by nature the things contained in the law, we're showing or giving evidence that we all have this natural understanding of what right and wrong is. That's the law. And in the next verse, Romans 2:15, it says, which show the work of the law, here's the key, written in their hearts, their conscience also bearing witness. So in other words, God created us and wrote in our hearts his moral law. And that is what our conscience consists of in this way. So keep that in mind. So those are some Bible verses to help you, but understand that pluralism, the idea that all religions are the same, cannot be true, even though there are some shared themes. The reason that we have a shared aspect or overlap in these moral precepts, it's not because all religions are the same. It's because God created us with a conscience to know him and to understand his moral law as the outside source beyond us of truth that is grounded in his nature.